Hamas and Hezbollah are terrorist proxies of the same Iranian leaders who promised to destroy the State of Israel. But PLO Fatah, or the Palestinian Authority, the government of any future Palestinian state in Judea and Samaria, is different, according to the media, for it supposedly means to make peace with Israel. But is it different? Today the media never mentions it, and so very few people remember. But PLO Fatah armed and trained Ayatollah Khomeini's guerrillas, the same that fought the Iranian Islamist Revolution and established the current regime in Iran. PLO Fatah and Iran have cultivated a close relationship ever since. Will Israel give strategic territory to Iran? That is the question we will ask in what follows. HIR and Faces present a series based on the book The Collapse of the West, The Next Holocaust and Its Consequences. PLO Fatah and Iran, the special relationship. Ever since Ayatollah Khomeini led the Iranian Revolution and called for Israel to vanish from the page of time, Iranian leaders have openly called for the destruction of Israel. To that end, in Gaza and Lebanon, Iran has supported, trained, and armed terrorist militias such as Hamas and Hezbollah. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has explained, to Israel and to the world, that Iran is a menace to the security of the Jewish state.
And nothing could imperil our common future more than the arming of Iran with nuclear weapons. Iran's leaders deny the Holocaust of the Jewish people while calling for the annihilation of the Jewish state.
But Netanyahu also pushes for the creation, in the territories of Judea and Samaria, of a new Arab-Palestinian state.
You absolutely favor a Palestinian state, though, right?
I do. I think it's important to make peace with the Palestinians, and I'm prepared to negotiate that peace right away. They should have their own independent country.
And Netanyahu also says the following.
And we should be assured that this country is not used as a staging ground for Iranian-sponsored terrorist attacks on us.
Wait, isn't this a contradiction? Any Palestinian state will be governed by PLO Fatah, now better known as the Palestinian Authority. And PLO Fatah, run from the beginning by Yasser Arafat and Mahmoud Abbas, was in fact the architect of the Iranian Revolution. As reported at the time, Palestinian sources said that Mr. Arafat's group had sent arms to the revolutionary forces in the last 4 months and had trained Iranian guerrillas since the early 1970s. PLO Fatah was so important to the Iranian Revolution that Yasser Arafat was the first foreign dignitary invited to celebrate with Khomeini the revolution in Tehran.
And is the Palestinian resistance feeling stronger now she is backed by Iran?
Definitely, it changed completely the whole strategic policy in this area.
A grateful Khomeini gave PLO Fatah, for its offices, the former Israeli embassy in Tehran. As reported at the time, Mr. Arafat, the first prominent visitor to Iran since the revolution, said the Palestinian and Iranian aims were identical. In fact, from Tehran, Arafat and Khomeini announced that together they would export the jihad to the entire world and destroy Israel. Khomeini's son declared, "We will continue our struggle until we free all Islamic countries and hoist the Palestinian flag together with ours." PLO Fatah continued to be important in Iran. It played a central role creating both the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and the Iranian secret police. As the New York Times explained at the time, the current head of the PLO network in Iran, Hani al-Hassan alias Abu Hassan, should be counted as one of the most influential men in Tehran. In the late 1980s, PLO Fatah adopted a public stance of promising peace in exchange for territory. And thanks to Western pressure on Israel, the so-called Oslo peace process was born. PLO Fatah and Iran now appeared estranged. But was this for real? In 1996, the Palestinian daily Al-Quds reported that a top PLO Fatah leader had come back from Iran with a renewed relationship. In 2002, PLO Fatah launched a series of terror attacks with the help of Iran. As reported at the time, Iran, which opposes Israel's very existence, is a staunch backer of the Intifada. Iran sent arms to PLO Fatah, some of which were intercepted by Israeli authorities. And Iran was heavily involved with the PLO Fatah terrorists. Directly linked to Yasser Arafat's Fatah movement, the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades are behind the majority of recent shootings and suicide attacks against Israelis. Much of the Fatah-affiliated Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades has now come under Iran's sway, especially in the West Bank. When Arafat died, Zakaria Zubeidi, the 29-year-old West Bank leader of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, a violent group linked to Fatah, said he would back Mahmoud Abbas. So Mahmoud Abbas was Iran's candidate. Now, as we saw, in 1979, when in Iran to celebrate with Khomeini the Islamist revolution, Arafat said the Palestinian and Iranian aims were identical. Mahmoud Abbas was also there, speaking to the Arab reporters. He explained to them PLO Fatah's plan of phases, imagined 5 years earlier, in 1974. Promise peace. Get territory. Destroy Israel. As recalled in the Palestinian daily Al-Quds, Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, lectured at length on this issue in Tehran when he went to congratulate Khomeini for the triumph of the Iranian Revolution. All that is required from us is to bring the Israelis to the absolute conviction that we Arabs really want peace. This mission is not easy because the Israeli right knows the truth. What truth is that? Immediately after signing the Oslo Accords, Arafat explained on Jordanian television that Oslo was the implementation of the 1974 Palestine National Council's decision. Historian Kenneth Levin explains, this was a reference to the so-called Plan of Phases, according to which the Palestine Liberation Organization would acquire whatever territory it could by negotiations, then use that land as a base for pursuing its ultimate goal of Israel's annihilation. Years later, Faisal Husseini, the top PLO official in Jerusalem, compared the Oslo peace process to a Trojan horse. The Trojan horse strategy was employed by the ancient Greeks to enter the city of Troy with a promise of peace, and then exterminate the Trojan population. What does this mean for Israel? Hashemi Rafsanjani, father of Iran's nuclear program, explains, application of an atomic bomb would not leave anything in Israel, but the same thing would just produce damages in the Muslim world. The message is clear. The Palestinian state will be a suicide bomber. The entire Arab-Palestinian population will be sacrificed by the Iranian regime in order to murder the Israeli Jews. To conclude, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns loudly of the Iranian danger, and indeed, Iran is a great danger. But then one is entitled to ask, why is Netanyahu so committed to giving strategic territory of the Jewish state to PLO Fatah, co-author of Ayatollah Khomeini's Iranian Revolution, and clearly an Iranian proxy? To see the documentation that supports the statements in this video, visit www.hirhome.com and consult the article PLO Fatah and Iran, the Special Relationship.